Using a credit card, whether swiping it or shopping online, has become an integral part of our daily lives. However, alongside its prevalence, credit card debt has also grown. In fact, the national credit card debt currently stands at a staggering $986 billion, reaching an all-time high. But here's the thing, there's an infallible approach to sidestep credit card debt altogether. It's as simple as not owning a credit card. Yes, you read that correctly. Living without credit cards is not only viable, but also the superior choice. Don't believe me? Allow me to demonstrate how you can not only survive, but thrive without relying on credit cards. Is living without credit cards possible? Did you realize that credit cards haven't been around for very long? Back in 1950, the first all-purpose credit card was introduced. Legend has it that Frank McNamara forgot his wallet while dining in New York City. Embarrassed, he vowed to prevent such a situation from occurring again. He discussed the concept of credit with the restaurant owner, and shortly after, Diners Club International was born. Interestingly, the original Diners Club card was made of cardboard. It didn't take long for Americans to embrace the idea of credit. Within the first year, Diners Club had amassed 42,000 users. Fast forward to today, 8 out of 10 Americans possess a credit card. Among cardholders, 4 out of 10 carry a balance and accumulate interest. Ouch. In just a few decades, we transitioned from a society that rarely utilized credit cards and had little understanding of the concept to one that heavily relies on credit, unable to fathom life without it. And that's exactly what credit card companies desire. They profit from our inclination to swipe our cards for whatever we desire. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoy spending money as much as the next person, perhaps even more. However, despite this affinity for spending, I don't possess a single credit card. In fact, I've never had one. Why? Because credit cards make it incredibly easy to fall into debt. Here's the bottom line. You don't actually need a credit card, regardless of what your parents or high school economics teacher may have told you. But I can already hear some of you raising objections, so let's quickly address the most common concerns regarding living without a credit card. How can you make online purchases without a credit card? The solution is simple: a debit card. You can use a debit card in all the same places where credit cards are accepted, including online platforms. However, the danger of credit cards lies in the fact that you don't feel like you're actually spending money, which increases the likelihood of overspending. Using a credit card can often feel like dealing with monopoly money, especially if you find yourself caught up in a late-night shopping spree. Believe me, that Dyson Airwrap won't solve all your problems. In contrast, when you use a debit card, you instantly witness the deduction from your bank account. You experience the impact of the purchase immediately, making you more aware of your spending and less prone to excessive expenses. How can you address an emergency without a credit card? You rely on your emergency fund, and let's be clear, a credit card doesn't count. What you truly need is real money saved up in your emergency fund to use for those unexpected situations. Using a credit card to cover emergencies only exacerbates the problem instead of resolving it. When you encounter a job loss or require emergency surgery, the last thing you want is to worry about how you'll recover financially. Having a sufficient amount of cash set aside allows you to navigate life's unexpected challenges and provides you with tremendous peace of mind. So no, you don't need a credit card just in case of emergencies, when you have a robust emergency fund in place. How can you travel without a credit card? Once more, a debit card is your ticket to reaching your desired destinations without accumulating debt. Traveling without a credit card is entirely feasible. You can purchase flights, rent cars, and book hotel rooms, all using your trusty debit card. Will you encounter a few additional requirements? Perhaps. However, my personal experience with a debit card has never hindered my ability to travel. As long as you plan and budget for your trips, you'll be all set to embark on your adventures. Are credit cards really safer than debit cards? Not necessarily. Here's an interesting fact: if your debit card is affiliated with a major credit company, such as Visa or MasterCard, you enjoy the same level of protection as a credit card holder. Additionally, as long as you regularly monitor your bank account, which you should do, you can swiftly report any unauthorized charges to your bank and have your money reimbursed without delay. Moreover, unlike credit cards, debit cards won't plunge you into debt or subject you to exorbitant fees. Taking all these factors into consideration, it becomes evident that a debit card is actually superior to a credit card. What about my credit score? I often hear this concern. I only use a credit card to boost my credit score. Without a credit score, I won't be able to rent an apartment or purchase a house. You might have been told that your quality of life depends solely on your FICO score, or that you won't succeed without one. However, that's simply not true. The reality is that you can live without a credit score. I can personally attest to this because I have never borrowed money in my entire life, so my credit score remains undetermined. Yet, it has never hindered my progress. You can even buy a house without a credit score. It's truly remarkable, my friends, when you have savings in the bank and manage your finances wisely. You're not confined by these myths that were created to keep you in debt. What I desire for you is to live the life you envision without becoming fixated on an arbitrary numerical system that the credit industry fabricated. Living without credit cards, a practical guide. So now that we've established why you don't need a credit card, let's dive into how you can actually live without one. You may be wondering, how do I go about this? Well, that's an excellent question. Here's the truth. 80% of finance is about behavior, while only 20% relies on knowledge. In other words, if you truly want to live without a credit card, you'll need to change your money habits and behaviors. At first, this may seem like a daunting task, but fret not. I've broken it down into manageable steps to help you get started on your journey. 1. Cease the use of credit cards and avoid credit altogether. Let's start with the most crucial step. Take out a pair of sturdy scissors and proceed to cut up your credit cards. Yes, I'm serious. This may prove to be the most challenging part, especially if your Amex has been your longest-standing companion. However, by parting ways with your credit cards, you are reclaiming control over your finances. So go ahead and sever those ties. But don't stop there. Take this moment as an opportunity to swear off all forms of credit once and for all. Remember, credit, which essentially means debt, is not your friend. Merely eliminating credit cards from your life won't make a significant impact if you continue to dabble in other types of debt. The wisest decision you can make is to bid farewell to credit for good. 2. Assess your financial status. Be prepared for a significant change during your first month without credit cards. If you've been heavily reliant on credit to cover expenses and pay bills, you may not have a clear understanding of your actual financial situation. This is the perfect opportunity to gain clarity. Begin by examining your current financial state. Take note of your current balances in both your checking and savings accounts. Familiarize yourself with the due dates for all your bills and recurring payments. It's crucial to ensure that any automatic withdrawals previously linked to your credit cards are now connected to your debit card or bank account. Keep in mind that since you're no longer using credit cards, insufficient funds in your account will result in unpaid bills. Quitting credit cards abruptly will likely disrupt your financial routine initially, and that's perfectly fine. You simply need to make necessary adjustments to move forward on the right path, which brings us to the next step. 3. Establish a budget. I'm a big advocate for budgeting because it grants me the freedom to spend, and as I mentioned earlier, I do enjoy spending. Creating a budget becomes even more essential when credit cards are out of the picture. You need to ensure that you have the actual funds available before making a purchase, instead of relying on a credit card statement to inform you how you spent your previous month's paycheck. You must proactively allocate your money before the month begins. We've all experienced that moment at the end of the month when we wonder, where did all my money go? However, with a budget in place, you can anticipate and plan for every expense, preventing any surprises. Moreover, having a budget makes it more likely that you'll spend less money since you have a set plan to follow. 4. Purchase within your means. By eliminating credit cards, you're putting an end to the practice of swiping and dealing with the consequences later. That's a thing of the past. Your perspective on money has shifted entirely. From now on, you will only buy what you can afford, meaning you'll pay for it in full and upfront. Moving forward, debit cards and cash will be your sole payment methods. If it's not accounted for in your budget, you simply can't have it. This may sound strict, but it's how you gain control over your finances instead of letting your finances control you. While credit asks, how much down payment? You need to ask yourself, how much altogether? Now, if you've created your monthly budget and realize that you don't have enough funds to cover everything, it's time to make adjustments. Which expenses can you reduce or eliminate entirely? Do you need to explore opportunities to increase your income to ensure your essential needs are met? Remember, you're no longer relying on a credit card, so it's essential to live within your means. Yes, it may require saying no more often than you'd like, and you might experience a fear of missing out when your colleagues go out for lunch for the third consecutive day while you enjoy your homemade sandwich. However, practicing this kind of self-control will enable you to save more money and avoid debt. 5. Build an emergency fund. As I mentioned earlier, having an emergency fund eliminates the need for a credit card when unexpected expenses arise. Whether it's a car breakdown or an unplanned dental procedure, these situations can easily push you back into relying on credit cards. But we're aiming to avoid that. Begin by prioritizing the creation of a starter emergency fund of $1,000 as quickly as possible. I understand that $1,000 may not cover every emergency, which is why it's important to eventually save up 3 to 6 months' worth of expenses for a fully funded emergency fund. However, for now, having $1,000 set aside will provide a cushion to get you through while you proceed to the next step. 6. Eliminate credit card debt. It's challenging to move forward without credit cards when you're still burdened by their outstanding balances. It's like allowing your ex to freeload on your Hulu account after breaking up. You can't truly embrace a life free from credit cards when you're weighed down by credit card debt. Therefore, it's time to pay off your credit cards. The most effective method to eliminate your debt is through the debt snowball approach. Start by listing all your credit card balances from smallest to largest, disregarding the interest rates. Make minimum payments on all your debts except the smallest one. Allocate as much money as possible towards paying off your smallest debt. Once the first debt is cleared, take the amount you were paying towards it and apply it to the second smallest debt, while still making minimum payments on the other debts. Continue this process until all your debts are completely paid off. Why life thrives without credit cards. Using credit cards often leads to excessive spending, causing you to go over budget by the time the bill arrives. Spending your hard-earned money on past experiences, movies you've already watched, or meals you've already eaten can be disheartening. It's like living your life through a rearview mirror, constantly looking back. That's not the way to truly live. Imagine the possibilities if you were free from debt and no longer relied on credit cards to sustain your lifestyle. Visualize the profound sense of peace you would experience and how empowering it would be to live a life that stands out from the norm, enabling you to live generously and make a positive impact on others.